Hi and welcome to another video here on my channel Morbid History. Today is actually a re-recording or like a remake of an old video I made. If you were here from the beginning, you might have seen it, but I privated it for quite a while ago because the quality was just so bad. And since it's one of my absolute favorite creatures from Swedish folklore, I just had to give it a better go at it. It's exceedingly creepy, and there's ghosts and murder and all those things that some of us find fascinating. So let's get into it. So let's start from the beginning. What is a Myling? A Myling is what we call a revenge ghost. It's a spirit born out of a murdered baby. Usually the story goes that there's a very young woman, maybe even a child herself, that hid the pregnancy and gave birth to this baby in secret and also in shame. Because of course, giving birth out of wedlock was extremely frowned upon and would ruin all of their future expectations of a good marriage and a family. So after the mom, in any way she could, disposed of the child, they usually buried it under the floor planks of a barn. They would put them in this tiny little wooden coffin and place something out of iron, usually scissors, on top of the little coffin. Then put some earth on it and put the floorboards back on. The scissors or the iron would be like some sort of charm to keep the baby inside and not turn into a Myling. But when the Myling, for some reason, came up from their grave, they would actually be the age that they would have been if they had been able to live. So that means that a Myling can be a child, a baby, or even an adult. But they usually are very malnourished and dirty, not looking that great, of course. They are ghosts, so. How could you save a Myling if you ran into it? One of the ways were to give it a name. Usually you could just shout out your own name and tell the Myling to borrow it and it would disappear. Or you could go and dig up the Myling if you knew where it was and then rebury it in consecrated ground. That would also stop the hauntings. Some more short info about Myling, historic info, is that the word Myling comes from the old Swedish word myrda, which means murder. And the first historic account we have of the usage of the word Myling was actually in 1647. So it's a very old creature in Swedish folklore. And of course we can all see that this particular creature came out of the fear of people having intercourse out of wedlock and the dangers of having unprotected, of course all kinds of sex during those ages were unprotected. So it was a way to scare the young people from doing silly things that young people do. And in sad cases that resulted in a baby and no one wanted a Myling on their hands. Now I'm gonna tell 2 stories about Mylings for you. I've translated them from Swedish stories, but the gist of the thing is still the same. The first story takes us to a farmer's wedding, or of course the farmer's daughter's wedding. Everyone had put the barn together into a spectacular party area like you did back in those days. They had lots of food and everyone was jolly, having a lot of alcohol and dancing the night away. The bride was beautiful and she was so happy. But as the night progressed and everyone just got jollier and jollier and danced, and the floor was like getting a bit jumpy from all that dancing. Through the jolly music, suddenly they heard a child singing. And the child sang. I'm gonna take it in Swedish first. Byttan är trång, benen är lång. Låt mig dansa en gång. Which translates to, the box is tight, my legs are long. I wanna dance once again. What had happened was that all the dancing and the shaking of the floors had misplaced a pair of scissors on top of a tiny coffin. The bride had once, very, very young, been pregnant, given birth, and buried her child unbaptized underneath the floorboards of that barn. It had been years since then, and out of the floors came a little boy. He looked deathly pale, malnourished, and he grabbed his mom, who was frozen in fear. He took her and started swirling her around and around and around the room until they both collapsed, dead. And now to the second story. This time it was an old man walking a very familiar path to him through the forest. He was walking home from work, and it was late in the evening. Suddenly, out of nowhere, a little boy came up to him. It looked for him like it was just a homeless little boy, and he was quite sure that he was gonna ask him for something. So the boy told him, Grandpa, please let me feed." The old man got a bit confused and continued walking, thinking that the boy would just give up. But the boy didn't. He just continued following him and shouting, Grandpa, please, I need to feed." After a while, the old man got annoyed and shouted at the little boy, "If you have somewhere to feed, please go there, because I have nothing to give you." And with that, the little boy disappeared. The old man didn't think much of it and continued walking home. Once he got to his cabin and opened the door, he saw his only daughter lying on the floor with blood coming out of her bosom. It was the Myling who had come to feed from his mom. And the only reason he could was because the grandpa had given him permission. The daughter did not make it. As you may notice that a lot of the Myling stories always end up with the mother getting killed. In many of them, it's actually because of breastfeeding that they come and try to suckle the milk they didn't get as children and draw out all the blood from the mother, which is not a fun thought. Sounds terrible, actually. And once again, I have a cat. Hey Nala, wanna say hi? Wanna say hi? Jim, 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 Jim. I need to quit this little video. It's almost done. Mwah! Wanna go down? She's always a welcome sight, isn't she? And she always knows when the video is almost over. That's when she comes. The little rascal. So yeah, thank you so much for watching this video. Please, babe.
A few moments later.
I hope some of you found it informative, entertaining, and yeah, if you want to know more about Mylings, you can just Google it. I think there's like a Wikipedia page, at least in English and stuff like that. I've seen a lot of Mylings in some like horror games the past few years, so that's fun too. Yeah. She's just going round, round, round. Either way, thank you so much for being here. You're awesome, and I'm gonna list all my patrons here this time. Thank you so much. I appreciate your support over there, and I hope you enjoy everything that I post. I have so many plans, and when my ADHD meds have calmed me down enough, I'm just on the first dosage still. I'm gonna go on a higher one next week. And hopefully that's gonna help with my focus. So yeah. Thanks to my Pilvians, you're amazing. Thanks for supporting me on my Patreon. It means the world. Thanks to you, I can buy my editing software. Itchy. I can get all the effects and stuff. It's not cheap, and I'm grateful. Thank you. I'm gonna link my Patreon down there. I post vlogs a few times a week, and I have many other plans of exclusive content there in the future. Thanks, Cap. Make some noise. Either way, mwah! Kisses to you, and thanks for being here, and I'll see you in the next one. Like, comment. I love them comments. I just love them. I want to hear what you thought. It's like one of the best things of making these videos. I just want to hear your thoughts. Yeah. Bye bye. Till next time.